you ended your career with Jackass, but there was a lawsuit.
Yeah. I was forced to sue him because, what else Tremaine does is that he steals your ideas, whether he likes to think he doesn't or not. Here's a perfect example. Jackass 4. I go, how about we have a treadmill, like one for a horse that is huge and goes fast as hell, and we all jump on it one by one and get slammed into a garage door. He's like, yeah, and then we all have marching band equipment on, and you'll have a fucking flute and he'll have a tuba. I'm like, all right, cool. So then we jump on one by one, get slammed. 3 months later, somebody goes, who came up with the marching band idea? I did. No, I did. I came up with the treadmill and getting slammed one by one. All you came up with what the fuck we're wearing.
Okay, wait, that brings me to a good question. How do you guys come up with these idiotic ideas?
Well, obviously old red wine on the plane back in the day.
Well, first of all, how could they expect anyone to be sober during any of this?
Correct.
Shit? Is anyone sober?
It's so hypocritical.
And
not
young,
on the fourth
yeah.
one. Apparently, unless Knoxville's secretly sipping on Grandpa's old cough medicine in his Star Wagon. But no, not on. But before anything flew, it's so hypocritical to me.
Okay, so how did you guys come up with these ideas?
Well, usually I was on a lot of airplanes, so I would sip on red wine, just sitting there jotting down ideas. And funny you mentioned that you're interviewing Lorena Bobbitt, because I was thinking, I'm like, you know what? If I stick a hot poker up my ass and rip my dick off, that won't even hurt. Then we can sew it back on. And I'm also thinking, Mike Tyson bit off Evander Holyfield's ear in the ring. How about I get into a ring with Evander and then he bites off my ear? And then Paramount's like, you're willing to get half your ear bitten off? I'm like, hell yeah, it doesn't even hurt. And you know the street creds I'll have by walking around saying, what the fuck happened to your ear? Evander Holyfield bit it off? Hell yeah, I'm in.
By the way, and at the time, the money made sense for something like that, correct? Because remember, we were talking about this last night. They get beat up and it's like $5,000. And it's kind of like, what's it all for? Who would do that? Who would get out of bed for $5,000
like
to get
$8,000
beat up?
for a nose job.
Right.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
Jeez.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I feel like Knoxville took away something that I truly love. She's got my legs back to skateboarding again, which is fine, but I can't jump down big shit like how I used to. I mean, being 44 has a lot to do with it, but my bone spurs sting when I land. It doesn't hurt to walk or run. It just hurts to jump down things. Not only that, I buy a brand new purple Lamborghini. I show up on set. You know one of those things that you have on a boat that when you're sinking and you press a button, it goes and it blows up like that?
Yeah.
Well, he put that in my Lamborghini, broke out the front windshield and stretched the frame of it to where they had to rent me a Bentley for 2 months as they fixed it.
Well, that
Then he shows up
terrible.
and then he chopped off the roof of my Hummer, which I don't really care about. But
Wait, is this the same purple Lamborghini that you
the Billy Idol cut the roof off of?
And is that the one that Kim Jong-un wanted to see, whatever his name
Yeah,
is?
so we're on
Tell that story.
Kim Jong-il likes sports cars. So Maximilian Cooper from the Gumball Rally, we were doing around the world in 8 days. So I shipped the car to London. We drove all through Budapest, Vienna, and then we put it on Beograd, Yugoslavia. Then we put it to Phuket, Thailand, Bangkok, Sapporo, Japan. Then we stopped in North Korea because Kim Jong-il likes sports cars. He wouldn't let us drive it around town because he didn't want the people to see this, but he looked at it at the airport. We had to put our phones in the locker. We hop into a bus that takes us to the only nice hotel, which was decorated really 50s. And we had dinner with them. Then we saw this big show where like all these children hold up different pieces of paper that create a face, like a cool face or like a sentence. And then there's a lot of dancers. It was really cool. But at 6 o'clock at night, the town, the size of Fort Lauderdale, all the power shuts out. It looks like Zombieville. It's very spooky and scary. And like I was pushing down the street with a skateboard, ollieing over plants and stuff. These people are like, who is this guy from outer space with a board with 4 wheels on it with all these drawings all over himself?
Because they've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you're a famous singer over there or a rake lever. You all get paid the same amount of money, which would not provoke me to become anything special.
Right. No incentive.
Why be a kick-ass guitar player pulling that whammy bar like it was a cock or some shit when you're not getting any paid?
Right.
Why be an awesome dancer if you're not getting any paid? I might as well just rake leaves like everybody else.
Right. Okay, back to Jackass for 1 second. A couple more questions. Was there anything that you guys could not film? Were there things you had to stay away from?
Yes, so
That's a fun question. Yeah, what were you not allowed to do?
a ton of things. But here's one that sticks out that is so funny to me just because it's so obnoxious. So Dave England is out at Venice Beach, and you know how they have those little hey, come by and I'll paint your face for,
yeah.
$10. So this 80-year-old lady walks by. She gets pressured into doing it. He's sitting there drawing for like 10 minutes, only to reveal a stick figure of saggy tits and her fingering herself, and it just says slut. And she just goes, oh, you need church. I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. MTV will never, ever put this on, but it is embedded in my brain, and it's just so funny to me.
Oh my God.
Why don't you tell her before we switch subjects about the most painful people always ask you? Of like what your most painful experience was?
Well, I mean, I could sum it up because everybody knows that I have 16 staples in the head, 8 broken ribs, 4 broken ribs, 15 broken wrists, broken clavicle, broken tailbone, 3 broken feet. The list goes on. But they say, what was the worst injury and pain?
People always ask this.
My first one is freezing to death in a drunk tank for 17 hours in Vista, California.
What?
Because they won't give you a blanket because you might hang yourself with it. I'm like, if I'm successful at hanging myself with this Amish quilt, then I'm the man. There's not even anything to hook it on. I'm freezing in here. But they don't care. They want to see you freeze and suffer it. Picture freezing. You're from Alaska. Picture freezing for just 10 minutes. That sucks. So 17 hours of freezing, it's like you're flexing and doing sit-ups. It's worse than being at Planet Fitness for 5 hours.
What was the second one?
The second one was a fucking toothache.
And the third was
I showed up
tea tree
at
oil.
the hospital with the pliers and a napkin, and it was a long line because it's Friday night and I live in a college town.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not waiting in this line. I will rip this thing out right now. It hurts so bad. It's toothache.
Yeah.
Third, I'm so sore from skateboarding that she draws myself a tubby tub, and I have all these little oils that say, put in 1 drop of lemongrass, 1 drop of wintergreen, 1 drop of tea tree. I'm like, fuck that noise. I'm putting it all in. I'm sore. Only to find myself out in the hot summer Pennsylvania 100-degree heat, shivering to death with 8 blankets on. It was a Jackass stunt. It should have been filmed.
I'm like, you're not supposed to put the whole bottles in there.
Oh,
like, like
no.
the little couple drops.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.